Chapter 3, Mishnah 6. The Mishnah considers the procedure for planting rows of gourds in a field of onions. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. If a person's field was planted with onions, and he wishes to plant rows of gourds in it, how should he proceed? Three opinions are cited. The first, Rabbi Ishmael says he uproots 2 rows of onions, thereby clearing a space 8 amos wide, and then he plants 1 row of gourds 4 amos wide in the center of this clearing. This leaves 2 empty amos on each side of the row to separate the gourds from the onions on either side of it. He then leaves standing the onions that are in a place fit for 2 rows. That is, he leaves the next 8 amos of onions growing in their place. And he may then uproot the next 2 rows, again clearing a space 8 amos wide, and plant 1 row of gourds 4 amos wide in the center of this clearing. He may then continue this pattern throughout the field. The second opinion, Rabbi Akiva says he uproots 2 rows of onions and then plants 2 rows of gourds in their place, filling up the 8 amos that he cleared. He does not have to leave a 2 amma gap. He then leaves standing the onions that are in a place fit for 2 rows. That is, he leaves the next 8 amos of onions growing in their place and uproots the next 2 rows of onions. He plants 2 rows of gourds in their place. He may continue this pattern throughout the field. According to Rabbi Akiva, there is no need for a 2 amma gap between the gourds and the onions, and it is enough for the rows of gourds to be separated by just 8 amos. The third opinion, but the sages say, if there are less than 12 amos of space between 1 row of gourds and its neighbor, he may not keep the onion plants in between them. The sages agree with Rabbi Ishmael that 12 amos are needed between 1 row of gourds and the next, but they agree with Rabbi Akiva that it is not necessary to leave a 2 amma gap between the gourds and the onions.